Welcome back. Today, we're breaking down the 10 most common plot holes found in fiction, and more importantly, how you can fix them in your own writing. At its simplest, a plot hole is an inconsistency or a gap in a story that contradicts its own established rules or internal logic. It's that jarring "wait, what" moment where the narrative breaks, pulling your audience right out of the experience. To keep your readers glued to the page, you need to plug these gaps early. Let's dive into the list, starting with the mistake that makes every victory feel cheap and unearned. Number 1, the magic solution. This is the Deus Ex Machina of convenience. It happens when a character has a tool, a power, or a powerful ally that could solve the main conflict instantly, but they simply forget it exists until the end. Or worse, they never use it at all. For example, a character who can teleport but chooses to spend 3 days driving through a dangerous desert for plot reasons. The fix: introduce a cost or a condition. If they can teleport, maybe it makes them physically ill, or they can only go to places they've been to before. If it's not free to use, it's not a plot hole. Number 2, the unaddressed superpower. This is a cousin to the magic solution. In fantasy or sci-fi, a character might reveal a specific ability to get out of a tight spot in Chapter 2, but then fails to use that same ability when facing an identical threat in Chapter 20. The fix: create a situational counter. Don't make your hero forget their powers. Make the villain smarter or the situation harder. If your hero is a mage locked in a dungeon, don't just ignore their magic. Handcuff them with anti-magic iron or build the cell out of a material that suppresses their gift. By providing a logical reason why the power is off limits, you force the hero to find a new way to win rather than just ignoring their established toolkit. Number 3, the God mode villain. We love a high-stakes antagonist, but problems arise when a villain is established as godlike or all-powerful, yet fails to notice the hero's very obvious low-budget plan. If the villain is smart enough to take over the world, they shouldn't be dumbed down just so the hero can win. The fix: trade stupidity for hubris. The villain shouldn't be dumb, they should be arrogant. They don't see the hero as a threat, or they are so hyper-focused on their grand plan that they miss the small, grassroots rebellion happening right under their nose. Arrogance is a character flaw. Stupidity is a writing flaw. Number 4, teleporting characters. This is a logistical nightmare. It happens when a character travels a vast distance in a time frame that is physically impossible within the established world. For example, a messenger crossing an entire continent on horseback in 2 hours because the author needs them to deliver a letter for the next scene to work. The fix: add obstacles or adjust the timeline. If a character needs to get somewhere fast, show the toll it took. Kill their horse, show them arriving haggard and exhausted, or explicitly state that 3 weeks had passed in a chapter transition. Respect the map you built. Number 5, information amnesia. This occurs when 2 characters have a conversation where vital information is shared, but later, one of them acts as if they never heard it. This is usually a cheap tactic used to artificially prolong a mystery. The fix: create a distraction or misinterpretation. Instead of the character just forgetting, have them hear the info during a chaotic moment, like a battle, so they only catch half of it. Or have the informant be someone the character fundamentally distrusts, so they choose to ignore the truth. Number 6, the convenient lack of technology. In modern settings, the biggest plot hole is often the smartphone. If your entire plot relies on a character being lost or unable to call for help, you need a rock-solid reason why their tech isn't working. The fix: environmental or systemic interference. Don't just say no signal, that's a cliche. Have the battery die because they were using the GPS too much in the cold. Have the villain use a signal jammer. Better yet, have the phone be stolen or physically smashed early on so the audience knows help isn't coming. Number 7, abandoned plot threads. These are the dropped stitches of storytelling. An author introduces a mysterious character or a ticking time bomb subplot that seems crucial, but then it's never mentioned again. This leaves readers feeling unsatisfied. The fix: the tie-in or trimming method. Either bring that character back for the finale to perform a crucial task, or delete them entirely in the editing phase. If a subplot doesn't affect the ending, it's probably a distraction. If it's not important enough to finish, it's not important enough to include. Number 8. The personality flip. This happens when a character's established personality is sacrificed at the altar of the plot. For example, a cautious, cynical loner suddenly trusts a complete stranger with their life secret, solely because the plot needs that secret to get out. The fix: establish a bridge of trust. If a loner needs to trust a stranger, show the stranger saving the loner's life first. We need a receipt for that change in behavior. Character development must be earned, not forced. Number 9. The Nonsensical Plan. We see this a lot with mastermind villains. Their plan is so convoluted that it relies on 100 different variables falling perfectly into place, variables they couldn't possibly control. If the plan only works because of pure luck, it's a hole. For example, a villain steals an artifact and leaves clues leading to a rigged clock tower, hoping the hero investigates alone. The problem? It relies on luck. If a random cop finds the clues first, the trap is wasted. The fix: the checkmate method. Instead of hoping the hero chooses the path, the villain forces it. For example, kidnapping the hero's partner or threatening to blow up a city block ensures they show up exactly as planned. By adding these layers, the villain isn't gambling on the hero's personality. They've rigged the game so the hero has no other choice. And finally, number 10, the no consequences injury. This is the action movie trope. A character sustains a life-threatening injury, like a gunshot wound or a broken leg, but is seen running and fighting at 100% capacity in the very next scene. The fix: apply a permanent handicap. If a character is shot in the leg, they should limp for the rest of the story. Use that injury to raise the stakes. Now they can't outrun the monster, so they have to hide or find a clever way to fight. Pain makes the victory feel more real. At the end of the day, readers will happily accept the impossible, like a character who can fly, as long as the rules remain stable. The hole only appears when the logic breaks to create a cheap cliffhanger. If you find a hole late in your draft, you don't always need to rewrite the whole thing. Just use the rule of 3. Number 1, mention the limitation early. Number 2, show the limitation causing a minor problem in the middle of the story. And number 3, let the limitation create the conflict at the climax. By establishing the why not early on, you transform a potential plot hole into a deliberate, high-stakes plot point. To help you troubleshoot your draft, you can use this logic fix table to find the quickest solution for your specific hole. For example, if you catch your character forgetting their flight ability in Chapter 5 just to make a scene work, such as they need to be trapped on a cliff to move the plot forward, then you need to apply a logic fix by adding a limitation or cost. The quick fix would be in Chapter 4, introducing a limitation like high-altitude fog or a wing injury that prevents flight. Now that cliffhanger feels earned rather than accidental. By checking your story against these 3 categories, you can ensure your world feels solid, your characters feel real, and your plot remains airtight. Now go plug those holes before your readers fall into them. Happy writing! That's all from us today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more lessons and ideas. See you next time.